Hi, and welcome to Best in Tesla. So, we are hearing all the time that BEVs are falling, but Cox Automotive has just come out with their forecast of the US auto market for Q3 2024. And guess what? BEVs are still growing, and ICE continues to fall, and we can clearly see what the old legacy automakers are doing thanks to the charts from Cox Automotive. And we have also another catalyst that will probably make the EV adoption in the US pick up momentum over the next couple of years as well. So let's check it all out and let's dive right in. The US EV sales are projected to hit a record high in Q3 2024, according to new data from Cox Automotive. That's weird, they're all saying that EVs are down. But EV sales are now making up nearly 9% of all auto sales in the US, also a record high. So, as we can see on this chart, EV sales are still rising no matter what legacy automakers or the mainstream media says. The EVs are up. And we have heard a lot about how plug-in hybrids have taken over, but that is just not the case. In the US, it is the hybrid vehicle that has grown to have a bigger market share than BEVs, but that have been the case many times before and for a pretty long time. And if we look all the way back to Q1 2021, we can see that BEVs are clearly the powertrain that has grown the most, from what looks like 2 to 2.5% to 8%, whereas the hybrids has come from about 5% to 8.5%. So the BEVs are definitely the one that has grown the most, and we can see the plug-in hybrids are still very small percentage of the market, only 1.9%. And hybrids, not plug-in hybrids, are going to go away fast over the next couple of years if you ask me, because people are going to want to be able to charge their car overnight at home and just do their daily small commute on cheap electricity from their home. But the trend of the ICE vehicles is the most clear trend we can see here on this chart. They have been falling steady every single year, from about 92% just back in Q1 of 2021 to 81% in Q2 2024. So what the old guys are basically doing here at the moment is shifting their drop of pure ICE sales over to sell more hybrids. And then there are very small amount of BEVs on top of that, of course. But for someone like Ford and GM, we're talking about 100,000 units of BEVs, so it's not a huge amount in their overall sales. But they are balancing the sales between hybrid and ICE very nicely, making it look like they are not losing momentum at all. As their 10% they have lost in the ICE sales, they have basically just been gaining in hybrids and plug-in hybrids. And this is something they know how to make, as the hybrids, the orange here on this chart, is basically just an ICE car with a battery that you can only charge by driving your car burning fossil fuel, so not very clean. And hybrids is basically also using fossil fuel even when the electric motor is running, as the electricity is made from 100% fossil fuel. And on top of that, you don't get all the benefits of a BEVs with very little maintenance and so on, as this is just an ICE car with a battery and electric motor on top of it. So you still need to do all the service check and maintenance, and you still need to buy that expensive gasoline even to fill up your battery. So the only benefits the hybrids have is that they get a little more range per gallon of gasoline. But if Norway is anything to go by in terms of what will happen to the automotive market, well, the hybrid will grow for a while, but then they will start shrinking as people learn that BEVs can actually work as your everyday driver, and people will stop having range anxiety. As there will also be more and more like myself that has been driving nothing but BEVs for 5.5 years and has been on skiing holiday and road trips all over Europe, all the way from Rome to to above the Arctic Circle in Norway. And then my friends talk to me about it and find out that there's really no problem having a BEV as you only drive. Quite the opposite, especially if you live in a house, so you never really have to go to a gas station anymore, but you charge at home overnight, saving me about 10 hours a year than going to fill up my gas car at a gas station all the time. So yes, I am saving time having a BEV, not the other way around as so many people think. Then I have to sit there and wait for hours for my car to fill up. No, I very rarely do that. And on a yearly basis, I have about 10 hours saved with a BEV. So even though I might have to wait sometimes on a road trip, well, I don't wait 10 hours, so I will still save time having a BEV. And if you have seen some of my videos of my road trip, you will know I pretty much never wait for my car to charge, as I need to stop more times than the car does, but I just charge every time I stop, which then end up with me basically never waiting for my car to charge, as it only needs about 10-15 minutes to be ready for another 2-hour drive. But if you want to know more about how that works, well, I will leave a link down to one of my videos on that topic. But when we talk about EV adoption in the US, we also have to remember what a difficult environment the automakers are working in right now, as the average selling price has only been going up for the last 3 years. You can now get a Tesla cheaper than the average selling price in the US. At the same time, the interest rate has never been higher, so this makes the car the most expensive to buy they have ever been. Now, the Federal Reserve have cut the rates by 50 basis points, which was announced on September the 18th. Immediately, this rate cut reduces the interest rates on loans, including auto loans, of course. This means lower monthly payment for the same priced car, making cars more affordable for those financing their purchases. And that is about 85% in the US. So this will have a great impact on the demand for car sales. And we can also see that over the past year, the average selling price has come down slightly, 1.7% from last year. So we might be at a little turning point where prices will start coming down again on new car sales, and interest rates hopefully also will continue to come down, but we of course don't know. But because it has become so expensive to buy a car in the US, with the average selling price rising and the interest rates, we have also seen that so far here in 2024, leased cars are leading the way and are the reason for 2024's gains. So people have been avoiding to buy a car as the cost to buy a car is getting too high, but leasing a car instead. This will also impact someone like Tesla quite a lot, as they have a very small percentage of their sales being leased. While the exact current percentage as of September 2024 might not be explicit provided, Tesla's strategy and market response have kept leasing to a relatively low percentage of their sales, fluctuating in the low single digits in recent times, with 2% being noted towards the end of 2023. So as sales has dropped in the general car market and leasing has grown significant, we can also see Tesla is slightly down in the US in 2024. It's not much, but according to Cox Automotive, their estimates for Q3 numbers, Tesla might be down 2.4% year over year in Q3 in the US. So when we take into calculation all we have just talked about, I think it's pretty impressive that Tesla is not down more than they are, and we still don't know if they are actually going to be down in Q3 in the US, as this is just Cox Automotive estimates, of course. But as I've shown before, the used car market for BEVs is also growing. It is not only the new BEV sales. Actually, the used EV sales in the US are estimated to hit that perfect 69% year-over-year growth in Q3. And Tesla have been leading the BEV sales of used cars as well, which of course makes sense as they have sold more EVs than all the other guys combined through the years. And I still think the used BEVs are starting to get some momentum because people are starting to realize that all the FUD being spread about BEVs and their batteries are dying after 100,000 miles and it's very, very, very expensive to get a new one are simply not true. The batteries in today's EVs will outlast the lifetime of the vehicle, as new studies has also shown. And then you can find an EV that I'm driving today, my good old Tesla Model 3 from 2019, and that is still such a good electric car, even compared to today's standard. There are not many EVs today that will give you 570 kilometers of range that can do a 0 to 100 kilometers in just 4.4 seconds, or like mine with the acceleration boost, 3.9 seconds, 0 to 100 kilometers, and can charge with 250 kilowatt and is preheating the battery that will make your car charge about 25% faster than a non-preheated battery. And the safety of the car is still better than pretty much any non-Tesla EV on the market today. And it still has Tesla's awesome safety assist features that are the best in the world according to NHTSA and Euro NCAP. And yes, because it is a Tesla, that safety assist features are up to date thanks to over-the-air software updates. And the software in general in the car is also up to date in my 5-year-old Tesla thanks to those over-the-air updates. And in the US, you can find this car for as low as $16,000. That is one hell of a bargain. If we should make a comparison to something like the ID4, as you cannot get the ID3 in the US, well, that car starts at about $40,000 to $41,000. And that low end of the ID4 only has a range of about 330 kilometers or 206 miles of range EPA. Even the longest range version only have about 465 kilometers or 291 miles of range. And the lowest end models can only charge with 125 kilowatts. So my 5-year-old Tesla charged with twice the speed, and the top end of the ID4 can only charge with 170 kilowatts. Still not matching my old Tesla. Well, Lars, it's also a bigger car, so you will get more cargo space with the ID4. Well, yes, it is a bigger car, but you will not actually get more cargo space, as the Model 3 does have a 125-liter frunk, which the ID4 doesn't have, and the Model 3 actually have 682 liters of cargo space. That is actually the new version though, but my old Tesla Model 3 only have about 30 liters less cargo space, so 653 liters, whereas the big ID4 only have 543 liters. So because Tesla has a much better EV design, they can fit more cargo space into a much smaller car than Volkswagen. So there's really nothing the brand spanking new ID4 can do that my little old Tesla Model 3 from 2019 can't do. Actually, the Model 3 beats it on every single matrix, even though it's 5 years old. You can spend $40,000 to $45,000 on an ID4 and get less of everything, except it's a new car, or spend $16,000 to $20,000 and get a Tesla Model 3 long range that still outperforms the ID4 on everything you care about, whatever that might be. No wonder that the used BEV sales are going up, as this old Tesla is truly a bargain. Still such an amazing car, and now for an amazing price, especially when you compare to what the competition has to offer. So people have been screaming about the affordable EV for $20,000. Well, they are finally here, and it's even a Tesla. The only downside is it's a used car. So I think this will actually help the EV adoption to speed up again as prices start to fall and interest rates start to fall, and as more people learn just how much better a BEV is compared to the old dinosaurs of an ICE car, and now people can even try them out for as little as $16,000 instead of $40,000 to $50,000. So I think we will see the EV adoption continue to grow and speed up again in 2025 and 2026, and hybrids will be a temporary play for the legacy automakers to offset their fall of ICE sales with hybrids. But BEVs will eventually take over, just as we have seen here in Scandinavia and especially in Norway, that has already gone all the way. So the question is still, will the US legacy automakers be ready for the rise in BEVs that are coming, or are they making a big strategic mistake by focusing too much on the short-term play, the hybrids? Time will of course tell, but I personally think this is a big mistake. And thank you for watching. And until next time, take care out there and be nice.